Hello everyone, welcome to History and Culture. In ancient Chinese history, the tortures women endured were undoubtedly appalling. One such torture was the red embroidered shoes. At first glance, the name might evoke images of beautiful traditional women's shoes, symbols of marriage or wealth. However, behind this name lies a history of intense pain and suffering. It is said that this form of punishment originated during the Ming dynasty, particularly during the reign of Wei Zhongxian. Wei Zhongxian, who controlled the Eastern Factory, wielded immense power and used brutal torture methods to force others into submission or extract confessions. The red embroidered shoes was one such form of punishment, which is a variant of the ancient Pao Luo punishment. This original method was devised by King Zhou of the Shang dynasty and his concubine Daji to punish criminals, particularly women. The red embroidered shoes was a modification of this cruel torture. The process of inflicting this punishment involved heating a special iron shoe to a glowing red, then using tongs to forcibly place it on the victim's foot. The searing hot shoes would burn the victim's feet, causing the skin to crack instantly, and the muscles and tendons of the soles and toes to be burned away. The pain was unbearable. This was just the beginning. As the burns deepened, the victim's body would gradually lose sensation, and the skin on the soles would break apart in layers. In the end, the person could die from infection or the severity of the injuries. The second punishment, standing on bricks. The standing on bricks punishment, as the name suggests, simply involves standing on bricks. But why were women so terrified of it? Some might wonder what was so special about standing on bricks. The fear was primarily connected to the ancient practice of foot binding. Since the Northern Song dynasty, Chinese women generally practiced foot binding, forcibly binding the toes and feet to make them small and deformed, which was considered a beauty standard. From the age of 4 or 5, girls' feet were bound until they became small and tightly compacted. The bound feet were nearly pressed together, resembling the shape of high heels. The standing on bricks punishment was executed by having these foot-bound women remove their shoes and foot wrappings and stand barefoot on hard, rough bricks. Since their feet had been deformed by foot binding, it became extremely difficult for them to stand barefoot. Furthermore, many women from wealthier families seldom walked and lacked muscle strength in their legs. As a result, this punishment was not only physically painful but also caused intense discomfort. Within a short time, the women would feel their legs becoming heavy, and after standing for just a few minutes, they would often collapse, their legs trembling. Moreover, in ancient society, a woman's feet were often seen as a second symbol of chastity. Forcing them to remove their shoes and stand barefoot on bricks was not only humiliating but also a form of both physical and psychological torture. The third punishment, zhang red. In the drama The Legend of Zhen Huan, some palace maids who were too arrogant were punished with zhang red by Empress Hua. Many jokingly say, "I grant you zhang red." But after understanding the true meaning of zhang red, you may think twice before casually saying this to a friend. Zhang red was a punishment used in ancient palaces to punish offending concubines, palace maids, and eunuchs. The method involved striking the lower body of the victim from the waist down, with a wooden plank about 1 meter long and 5 centimeters thick. The strikes were intended to cause severe damage to the bones and muscles of the body, often leading to disfigurement. Due to the severe injuries, the wounds would typically turn a bright red, hence the name zhang red. This punishment could cause serious damage to the legs, leading to permanent disability. In severe cases, the wounds could become infected or lead to other complications, potentially resulting in death. The fourth, tiger and leopard playing in the spring. This sounds like a poetic name, as if it were a light-hearted game. However, it is actually an extremely harsh punishment, designed with sadistic pleasure. In this punishment, the tiger and leopard are not real wild animals, but refer to rats and cats. The victim is a woman who is forced to strip naked and is placed into a sack or wooden barrel, with only her head exposed. Furthermore, the behavior of the officials often determines whether she will endure additional humiliations before the punishment begins. Once confined in the sack, the opening is tightly tied shut, and inside, rats and cats are placed. Due to their instincts, the animals will desperately struggle in the confined space. The cats will attack the rats, and the rats will retaliate, with the woman becoming an innocent victim caught in the middle of this battle. Ancient cats were typically wilder than modern domestic cats, and not as shy. Inside the sack, they would attack the rats, while the rats would fight back, causing small wounds on the woman's body. If she tries to struggle, the attacks from both the rats and the cats would become even more intense. Sometimes, the officials would light firecrackers near the sack, causing the cats and rats to become more frantic, running wildly and even biting the woman's skin. The victim would be left with numerous wounds, and when everything finally quieted down, the woman would be pulled out, and the officials would sprinkle salt on her wounds, further intensifying her pain. The pain from this punishment is almost unbearable, making the victim feel as though she is in a living hell. The fifth, shaving the head. This is an ancient method of punishment, referring to the act of shaving a convict's head. While this punishment does not directly harm the body, in ancient societies, hair was seen as an important part of one's physical identity, symbolizing the gift from one's parents. Therefore, shaving a person's head was viewed as a deep humiliation, especially for women. This punishment not only stripped the victim of her external image but also inflicted a profound psychological blow. In ancient China, a woman's physical image was considered extremely important, and any exposed part of her body could be criticized as improper. Thus, shaving the head was a much deeper psychological humiliation for women, beyond just a physical alteration. What made it even harsher was that women who underwent this punishment were often paraded through the streets, facing the taunts and insults of the public. Such public humiliation could be too much for many women to bear, often leading to immense psychological stress, and in some tragic cases, even prompting them to end their lives. Even if some women managed to endure this punishment, the shame and psychological trauma left by the shaving of their heads would haunt them for the rest of their lives. The sixth, pinching. Also known as clamping, this is an ancient torture used to extract confessions. The device used was very simple, consisting of several wooden sticks tied together with rope. When the punishment was carried out, the sticks would be tightly applied to the convict's fingers. Despite the simplicity and low cost of this device, its torturous effects were significant, especially for female prisoners, as very few could endure the agony. In ancient times, women primarily relied on their hands for domestic tasks such as washing clothes, cooking, and weaving. Having dexterous hands was considered a great strength and source of pride for women. However, after undergoing pinching, the victim's hands would often suffer severe injury, leaving them nearly incapable of functioning normally. This meant the loss of their ability to work and survive, causing them to fall into despair and lose their basic means of livelihood. For many, losing the use of their hands was akin to losing the will to live. The seventh, seclusion. In ancient times, women who were sentenced to this punishment were often seen as incomplete females, because the punishment was akin to a brutal physical injury designed to strip away a woman's ability to bear children. Specifically, the punishment was carried out by striking the woman's abdomen with a wooden spike. After repeated strikes, some object might fall from her uterus. This meant that the woman could lose her ability to become a mother. Even if no object fell, the excruciating pain and injury from the process would cause immense suffering. What, then, was this object? There were various theories in ancient times. Some believed it could be an unborn fetus or part of the uterus. while others thought it might be a part of the birth canal. By the Qing dynasty, a new explanation emerged. The object was believed to be a small bone, referred to as the secret shame bone. This bone was unique in that it would fall off upon receiving a strong impact, thus sealing the woman's reproductive passage like a gate, completely depriving her of her fertility. Although the woman could still maintain normal physiological functions after the punishment, the psychological trauma and physical damage were almost impossible to heal. This is the History and Culture channel. Liking and subscribing are the greatest help and support to us. Thank you everyone and see you in the next time.